It's go time on a Thursday. You're over the hump. Hope you had a great Cinco de Mayo on Tuesday. I know I did. Not really. Anyways, we got 2 parts for you today. Rotating through for 15 minutes, we're going to start with 6 per side of our world famous dead bugs, also known as Dubin bugs. Then we got 8 per leg of a dumbbell RDL, and we're going to also add in a 2-second pause at the bottom today. Then we're finishing up each round with 12 per leg of a single leg hip bridge. Okay, so rotating through all these, we're looking to get through this about 4 or 5 times, getting some real quality work in. Today's all about moving slow and smooth, not trying to go fast and aggressive, at least in this section. There, we're gonna try to move a little bit faster. So for this 15 minutes, starting with the dead bugs, we're gonna be on the ground here. Move this dumbbell out of your way, it's being dumb anyways. Stupid dumbbell. So I'm going to start by laying on my back. If I'm completely relaxed, you're going to notice there's a little arch in my lower back there. I'm going to want to make sure my ribs press down on my abs and I am not having a gap there anymore. So I'm taking that gap out of the equation. I'm pressing my lower back on the floor. From here, I'm going to raise my knees over my hips. My wrists and hands are going to be right over my shoulder. My right leg and left arm are going to rotate forward and back respectively. So as my right leg pushes forward, my left arm is going back. I'm maintaining my lower back on the ground. I'm going to pause for a split second at the bottom, and then I'm going to come back up. When you're breathing through this, we want to think in, and then when we're coming back up, out. So again, in and out. The hardest part about this is going to be maintaining your lower back on the ground as that arm and leg are extending out. So make sure you're really focusing on keeping that core locked in nice and tight. After you get 6 per side there, we're going to that single leg RDL. I am going to keep my dumbbell in my right hand. I'm going to lift my right foot off the ground. My left knee is going to have a slight knee bend. I am going to hinge from my hip, not my back, down as low as I can, so maintaining a flat back this whole time. I'm keeping my hips squared up. I'm going as low as I can. I'm gonna pause for 2 seconds and then squeeze my hips to stand all the way back up. Normally we don't have a pause, but today we're gonna add in a little stability work. So again, I'm controlling my movement down. I'm not rushing it. Lost my balance there, restart. As soon as I get to the bottom, I'm gonna pause. You notice I'm not even on the ground, and then I'm gonna stand back up. So I'm going as low as I can without my lower back rounding. If I tried to go lower than what I was just doing, watch what happened. This is where I ended. If I want to keep going, my back started to round there, and I'm still engaged, but my back's rounded in a bad position, and I would have to flex it to get out of that, which I don't want to do. So go as low as you can without your lower back rounding. If you need to, use your camera to see yourself doing this and see if your back rounds. You got 8 each leg there. Don't forget about that 2-second pause, very important. Also, if you are going all the way to the ground, don't just put all the weight on the dumbbell like this. So my hand's pressing into that dumbbell. I should barely have that dumbbell even touching the ground. It should just barely be touching, and you shouldn't have any weight pressing down onto it and then into the ground, okay? So 8 per leg there. Then we got 12 per leg of a single leg hip bridge. So I'm gonna be back down on the ground. I'm gonna tuck one foot in, and the other leg's gonna be straight off the ground. So you'll notice once I press out with my left leg, I'm pressing through that heel, I'm getting my thighs in line with each other. I'm not shooting this leg all the way up over my body. So my thighs are in line, and then I'm letting my hips sink all the way to the ground. Get my thighs in line, sink back to the ground. So we're really trying to feel this through our hamstring and our glute during these. We want to be pressing through that heel like this, not our toe like that. You're gonna feel a big, maybe Dave, if you want to, you can press through the toe to work on those calves a little bit. So, again, we're gonna be rotating through that probably about 4 times in that 15 minutes. Maybe a little bit less, depends how fast or slowly or smooth you're moving. Then, we're gonna have an AMRAP 5, but it's not just one. We'll get to that in a second. It's gonna start with 10 alternating dumbbell squat cleans, 5 each arm, and then 20 alternating renegade rows, 10 each arm. And it's an AMRAP 5 of that. In the AMRAP 5, you're trying to get through 3 rounds and then a little bit more into that 4th round. At the end of the 5-minute AMRAP, you're gonna rest a minute and a half, and then repeat the AMRAP 5. It doesn't matter where you left off in the first AMRAP 5. In the second AMRAP 5, you're gonna start back from the top, okay? So you're not picking up where you left off, you're starting back from the top in the second AMRAP 5. For that dumbbell squat clean, dumbbell's going all the way to the ground. We're gonna make sure that dumbbell's pointing the same direction as our feet. My feet have to be in my squat stance, so not under my hips, but under my shoulders with my toes slightly pointing out, because we're gonna have to get ready to squat. I'm gonna make sure I grab that dumbbell with my back nice and flat here. As I stand up, I'm gonna pop aggressively, and as that dumbbell's rotating up, I'm gonna rotate underneath and sink down to the bottom of a squat, pointing that elbow straight. I'm gonna stand up all the way out of it. As I start to extend my elbow, I'm gonna toss this dumbbell to my other hand, go back to the ground, tap, pop, and then squat right underneath. So I'm making sure I'm popping and I'm not just curling this dumbbell up like this and then going into a squat. We want to snap down underneath every time. So it's 5 each arm with that squat clean. Then for those alternating renegade rows, we're gonna be on the ground, starting with that dumbbell right between your hands. You're gonna spread those feet out. I'm gonna squeeze my butt nice and tight. I'm gonna press my left arm hard into the ground, shift that weight over, driving that elbow back, pinching my shoulder blade. Dumbbell will come back to the ground. Then I'm gonna rotate. You see, my hips are moving very little, although the weight in my hands are shifting. The weight in my feet is trying to stay pretty squared up and even. So again, we're going for 3+ rounds in each of those AMRAP 5s. In the second one, start back from the top and try to beat your first AMRAP 5. Good luck on your Thursday workout.